Hi, everybody. Welcome to one of my YouTube channels, Baseball Discourse. In 1983 and 1984, I broadcast games for the Kinston Blue Jays, the single-A affiliate of the Toronto Blue Jays. I also drove the team bus. They never left without me. But I digress. Anyway, I was digging through a box of cassette tapes of mine recently, and I came across a game on April 29th, 1983, between the Kinston Blue Jays, the single-A affiliate of the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Lynchburg Mets, the single-A affiliate of the New York Mets. The game was played at historic Granger Stadium in Kinston, North Carolina, and the starting pitcher for the Mets that day was Dwight Gooden. Starting pitcher for the Blue Jays was a left-hander, Keith Gillum. So I have the first 6 innings of that broadcast. Not the best quality. This is a tape cassette that's over 40 years of age, but I'm going to play the audio for you if you're interested in hearing a single-A baseball game involving Dwight Gooden, who at the time was being followed across the country and particularly drawing interest in New York, where, of course, he was one of the top prospects for the New York Mets. Also in this game, catching for the Kinston Blue Jays was Jay Schrader, a former number 1 draft pick of the Toronto Blue Jays, who was a star quarterback at UCLA. The next season, Schrader would be quarterbacking for the then Washington Redskins. And in this broadcast, he has 2 at-bats against Dwight Gooden. Incidentally, Gooden pitched into the 7th inning of this game. Unheard of today to have a top prospect pitching into the 7th inning because they monitor the pitch counts so closely now. But anyway, Gooden pitched 6 2/3 innings, about 5 hits in the game. He walked 3 and struck out 7. I will post my scorecard also in this video and broadcast, a scorecard that was a copy of Ralph Kiner's scorecard. The Mets broadcaster and Hall of Fame baseball player was kind enough to send me a copy of his scorecard, and I used it back in the day. So here it is, that broadcast between the Lynchburg Mets and the Kinston Blue Jays, the first 6 innings on April 29th, 1983. It starts out, incidentally, with my interview with then Lynchburg manager Sam Perlazzo. Enjoy.
My guest on the pregame show tonight is the manager of the Lynchburg Mets, Sam Perlazzo. And Sam, before we start talking about your ball club, Lenny Dykstra made such an outstanding effort on the home run hit by Ralph Rivas in the 9th inning last night. Just what is the situation as far as Lenny is concerned?
Well, Lenny is okay right now. He's got a little bit of soreness in his back. He had a little bit of a sore back before that play, but everything checked out, the doctors, and he came up to me and said he could play. But rather than the chance Lenny being out maybe 2 or 3 days like that, we're just going to probably give him a day off, and if we need him later in the game, I think he'd be ready to play.
How about your ball club? They seem to have the Blue Jays number so far this year.
Well, we haven't had a whole lot of people's numbers. I'll tell you one thing about the ball club, though. They've been in every game that we've played. I already told them they give me more gray hair than I can think about, because we've been in, I'll bet you, 4 or 5 one-run ball games and another 3 or 4 two-run ball games, and we haven't come out on top as many as I'd like to see, but they've battled all the way. And last night I thought maybe a snake bit there, but some again they come right back and battled hard, and I was real pleased with them.
At this level, single-A baseball, how important is it for the team to stay close in a game? Will it help them later in the season?
Sure, I really think so. Matter of fact, we have little meetings once in a while, and I think one of the things I told them is that, you're staying in these ball games, and that builds character for when it really gets down to the nitty-gritty at the end, and hopefully that'll come true for us, because we've been in so many close games so far this season that maybe when it comes down to maybe the last 10 days and you're still in the running and you get in a close game, that this will really help them out, show their character, and be able to handle it a lot better.
Any Major League prospects on this team? I know we talked to the manager of the Dukes the other day, and he said everybody's a Major League prospect as far as he's concerned.
Well, we're at a point, and we have a lot of young players, and anything can happen. I don't think we're blessed with an abundance of sure prospects, but we have a lot of guys that can do 1 or 2 things, and we're hopeful that they can work on the things that they need and develop into good prospects for us, because they can do like I said, one or two things. But in order to play in the big leagues, you know, you have to have, you know, 3 or 4 tools going for you that you can at least be average at. I think pitching-wise, we probably have more pitching prospects than we have player prospects right now, but it's early in the season, and, you know, it's hard for me. I'm still learning some of the players because I don't know them as well as I'd like to, but I think we have a well-rounded ball club, and if we can get our defense working, I believe we're going to win a whole lot more games.
You know, that's always been a trademark of the New York Mets organization. They've always developed pitchers. As an example, here you have a couple of guys who really can throw the baseball, and Reggie Jackson and your starting pitcher tonight, Dwight Gooden.
Yeah, we had that. Matter of fact, our AAA pitching staff, you know, it's almost like you could almost flip their staff with the Major League staff and do just as well. We just need a little more seasoning. And they have come up with some pitchers in the last 2 years that I think every team that we field in the organization has a real good pitching staff. And I think that's it's a real plus for the organization. They do promote from within, and it's a real incentive for the ball club.
What can you tell us about Dwight Gooden?
Dwight's the #1 pick last year. He's 18-year-old. He throws the ball real hard. He throws the ball about 91, 92 miles an hour. He's still young, a little bit rough, but the kid for 18 years old has quite a bit of poise out on the mound. And once we settle his control and get his curveball working, the kid's going to be an outstanding pitcher. He's got a great arm, and we're just excited that we have him this year.
Sam Palazzo, the manager of the Mets, is our guest on the pregame show tonight, and we'll be back with him right after these words.
Safety tip from United Auto Parts. Your cars, belts, and hoses don't last forever. With summer driving ahead, there'll be plenty of extra burden. So if your car is 4 years old, replace the belts and hoses now with Gates belts from United Auto Parts before you have an expensive, inconvenient breakdown. United Auto Parts carries only the best, including Gates top-quality belts and hoses, and Sherwin-Williams automotive paint. So protect your investment in your car. See United Auto Parts today at 2023 Pink Hill Road, Kinston.
Sam Palazzo, how about yourself? You manage in the New York Penn League. What's in your future?
Well, I'm no different than any of the players. They're out here trying to make the major leagues, and I'll be honest with you, I'm trying to make the major leagues also. I made it just for a cup of coffee with the Minnesota Twins in '77 and a month with the San Diego Padres. Some things didn't work out, so now I'm on a new career, and I was a little skeptical last year when I took over the New York Penn League, whether I'd enjoy managing or not. It is quite a bit more difficult than I think than playing is. I was always concerned about myself. I knew my job, and I knew the other guys had to do their job. Now I have to worry about 24 men, keep everyone together, know all the good habits and the bad habits, and but it's a real challenge, and I'm enjoying it. I really am, and I'm hoping to move up right along with the players.
What do you like about your job?
Well, I like being on the field. I like being in uniform. Baseball is a great game. There's not many other jobs you can get that last 6 months out of the year, and you go home and hopefully you can make enough money where you didn't really have to do any work, but you can, get a side job and maybe take 2 or 3 months off. And the only person I think that can do that is a school teacher. He gets 3 months off, and I think they work twice as hard as I do.
Sam Palazzo, thanks very much for being our guest on the pregame show tonight, and good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Sam Palazzo, the manager of the Lynchburg Mets, our guest tonight. Speaking of managers, manager Ron Clark of the Kinston Blue Jays has shaken up his lineup considerably tonight in an effort to help the Blue Jays snap their 3-game losing streak. And that will do it for tonight's pregame show. Now stay tuned for all the play-by-play of Kinston Blue Jays baseball. Coming up after these words.
What's more natural than...
Decent.
Hello once again, everybody, from Granger Stadium in Kinston, North Carolina. I'm Dan Lavallo with all the play-by-play of tonight's Carolina League game between the Kinston Blue Jays and the Lynchburg Mets. It's the second game of a 4-game series, and tonight we think we have the best pitching matchup of the early season as left-hander Keith Gillum goes for the Blue Jays against right-hander Dwight Gooden. Gillum on Sunday shut out the Mets in the first game of a doubleheader, allowing 4 hits in 7 innings. Gooden defeated the Blue Jays in the second game of the doubleheader, striking out 15 Jays in 7 innings. A good crowd gathering at Granger Stadium tonight, and we'll be back with the starting lineup and the opening pitch of tonight's game right after these words.
Here's a reminder from United Auto Parts. Preventative maintenance for your car or truck is smart. It can save you money for expensive repairs or towing charges from a failed belt, thermostat, hose, or radiator cap. United Auto Parts has the best. Gates parts for reliable replacements that'll save you money. So don't take chances on your car or truck. Save yourself some headaches. Insist on Gates replacement parts at United Auto Parts today. 2023 Pinkiel Road, Kinston. And don't forget, they're also Kinston source for Sherwin-Williams automotive paints.
Here are the starting lineups for tonight's game. First for the Lynchburg Mets, leading off and playing left field, Mark Carrion. Batting second and playing second base, Fermin Ubri. Randy Milligan hits third and plays right field. Batting cleanup, the third baseman, Dave Cochran. The designated hitter, hitting fifth, Larry McNutt. Batting sixth and playing first base, Bruce Morrison. Julio Pola bats seventh and plays shortstop. Hitting eighth and catching, Greg Olson. And batting ninth and playing center field, Darrell Denby. Pitching for the Mets tonight, right-hander Dwight Gooden. Public address announcer Eddie Day is introducing the Blue Jays by position. And in just a moment, we will give you the Blue Jays starting lineup following the playing of our national anthem. We can tell you that manager Ron Clark has juggled the lineup tonight, dropping Ken Kennard from the leadoff position to the number 9 spot in the order. Mark Poole is making a start tonight at first base. Normally, Poole does the catching. And now the crowd at Granger Stadium stands on a beautiful night for baseball for the playing of our national anthem. Starting lineup for the Kinston Blue Jays tonight, leading off and playing right field, Alex Marte. Hitting second and playing second base, Jose Escobar. The shortstop batting third, Mike Shopperson. Hitting cleanup and playing left field, Ralph Rivas. Batting fifth, the third baseman, Jim Bishop. Rico Sutton hits sixth. He's the designated hitter. Batting seventh and playing first base, Mark Poole. Hitting eighth, the catcher, Jay Schrader. And batting ninth and playing center field, Ken Kennard. Pitching for the Blue Jays tonight, left-hander Keith Gillum. So there you have it. Mark Poole starting at first base tonight. Ralph Rivas moving back to left field. And Alex Marte from left to right field. Of course, the Blue Jays still have a couple of walking wounded. In fact, the starting right side of their infield is out because of injuries. First baseman Eddie Santos will be out another week because of the hamstring pull in his left leg. And second baseman Bernie Tatis will be out for 2 weeks because of the ligament strain in his left knee. Both visited the doctor today. So we get set for the start of tonight's second game of the 4-game series. Left fielder Mark Carrion will lead it off for the Mets. The word on Lenny Dykstra, he is okay. He could appear as a pinch hitter tonight. Most probably, he will be starting by the conclusion of this series. What happened to Dykstra? Well, we'll tell you in a moment. Keith Gillum on the mound. Swings into the windup. Around comes the left arm. In comes the first pitch of the game. On the outside corner for a called strike. We are underway. Gillum, a fast worker, 0-1 pitch, high for a ball. Last night in the bottom of the ninth inning, with the Blue Jays trailing 6-5, Ralph Rivas hit a fly ball to dead center field. Now the 1-1 pitch, outside, ball 2. The ball was over the wall in center when Dykstra, the Mets center fielder, leaped in the air and knocked it back into play. Now the 2-1 pitch, chopped over the mound. Shopperson fields it, or goes to field it, but the ball skips under his glove and into center field for a base hit. Shopperson was there in time, waiting for the hop, but the ball didn't come up. It skipped underneath his glove, and the Mets get the leadoff man on here in the top of the first. That'll bring up the second baseman, Fermin Aubry. Anyhow, getting back to Dykstra, he leaped above the wall and knocked the ball back into play. Actually had it momentarily in his glove. He knocked the ball back into play, and then he fell on the warning track, the ball rolling free, and Rivas circling the base paths for an inside-the-park homer. Aubry takes the first pitch on the outside corner for a called strike. That tied the game at 6-6. Dykstra, for a moment, lost consciousness. And he was taken to the hospital. A slight concussion. He has a sore neck, but he's going to be okay. Throw back to first, and Carrion is back safely. Lenny Dykstra has been murdering Blue Jays pitching to the tune of a .550 batting average with 11 hits and 20 at-bats. Throw back to first, and again, Carrion is back safely. Just the start of things at Granger Stadium. Second game of a 4-game series. Beautiful evening for baseball. Plenty of room for you. Why don't you come on out to the ballpark? It's a WSFL Big Bird night tonight. Ground ball to second. Escobar to Shopperson for 1. Relay to first is high, and it pulls Poole off the bag. So it will go as a 4-6 fielder's choice. Aubry now on at first base. One away, and here is right fielder Randy Milligan. Sam Perlazzo coaching at third base for the Mets. He's the manager of the Lynchburg team, and he was our guest on the pregame show tonight. Aubry leads away from first. Throw back to first, and Aubry is back safely. Left-hander Keith Gillum is from Spartanburg, South Carolina. And he starts tonight with a record of 2 wins and no losses. Changeup drops in there for a strike. 0-1 the count. Gillum has an earned run average of 2.37. He is making his 4th start of the season. And he hurled a complete game victory against the Mets on Sunday. The first Blue Jays pitcher and the only Jays pitcher to throw a complete game this year. Pitch to Milligan is swung on and missed, strike 2. In 19 innings pitched, Gillum has struck out 7, allowed 5 runs, all earned, walked 5, and given up 19 hits. Curveball misses inside, a waste pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count on Milligan. Milligan starts the night with a batting average of .293 with 17 hits and 58 at-bats. Throwback to first, and Ubri is back safely. Ubri has 2 stolen bases on the season for the Mets. Manager Palazzo likes to run, so the Jays will have to be on their toes. Again a throw to first, and again Ubri is back safely. Milligan has 1 home run and 8 runs batted in for the Mets. Pitch to the right-handed hitter, outside, ball 2. Breeze now blowing slightly toward left field. It was blowing toward center field at the start of the game. Now the stretch by Gillum. Throw back to first. Ubri is picked off. Poole chases him towards second, and now he charges him near the bag and makes the tag before Ubri can reach second base. Poole was charging him, then Ubri momentarily stopped, was running toward Poole, and then went back in the other direction toward second. Poole never threw the ball and just ran him down before he touched second base. 2 down. Pitch on the way is low, ball 3. So the string runs out on Randy Milligan. 3 balls, 2 strikes. 2 outs, nobody on base, top of the first inning. Just starting things, no score. Swing and a miss, strike 3. First strikeout for Gillum in the top of the first for the Mets. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left on base. After 1/2 inning of play, it's the Mets nothing, the Blue Jays coming up. What's more natural than natural light? Whoa.
This season.
Dwight Gooden, the starting pitcher for the Mets, taking his warm-up. Gooden, with a record of 1 win and 2 losses, is making his 4th start of the season. He picked up his first win of the year last Sunday in the second game of the doubleheader, downing the Blue Jays 4-2. In the 7-inning game, he struck out 15 Jays, going the distance. Gooden has thrown 16 innings on the season, has struck out 31 over those 16. That's nearly 2 per inning. He's given up 9 runs, all earned, 13 hits, and he's walked 12. He starts the night with an ERA of 5.06. Alex Marte, batting leadoff for the first time this year, steps to the plate for the Blue Jays. Marte batting at .208 with 11 hits and 53 at-bats. He has 7 runs scored, 1 triple, and 4 runs batted in. So the left-handed hitter steps in, pitch on the way, fastball on the outside corner for a called strike. Gooden has been clocked at better than 90 miles per hour with his fastball. 0-1 pitch, fastball is fouled off, behind home plate off the screen, no balls, 2 strikes to count on Marte. He is 18 years old and was the Mets' #1 draft pick last year. They have the radar gun on Gooden tonight. Now the 0-2 delivery to Marte. He fouls it past third base coach Ron Clark down the left field line. Clark, the manager of the Blue Jays, coaching at third base tonight. J.J. Cannon is at first. Now the windup by Gooden, the 0-2 pitch. fastball misses outside. Catcher Greg Olson thought it was strike 3 and was ready to throw it around the horn. Paul Gordon calling the balls and strikes tonight. Dave Madsen on the base pass. Gooden 3 times has shaken off his catcher. He takes the sign with both feet on the rubber. Now the windup and the pitch to Marte. Curveball is swung on and missed. Strike 3. So maybe Olson was signaling fastball, and Gooden wanted to pull the string, which he did. First strikeout for the Mets right-hander, and that'll bring up the second baseman, Jose Escobar. Escobar batting at .214 on the season with 6 hits and 28 at-bats. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss at a fastball, strike 1. Escobar has 2 runs scored on the season. He has 1 double and 3 runs batted in. The outfield plays him to hit the other way. 0-1 pitch. In there for a strike. Not so much because Escobar hits it the other way, but because Gooden had such an outstanding fastball, the outfielders believe that many of the Blue Jays batters tonight will not get around on the pitch. 0-2 pitch. High. Escobar checks his swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Last of the first inning. Scoreless game. 1 out. Nobody on base for the Blue Jays. Fastball inside. Ball 2. On defense, the Mets have Dave Cochran at third. Julio Paula, the shortstop. Fermin Ubri at second. And Bruce Morrison at first. Greg Olson behind the dish. Dwight Gooden on the mound. Here's the pitch. Chopped over the mound. Charged by the second baseman, but it gets by Ubri into center field for a base hit. Jose Escobar aboard with a 1-out single, and that'll bring up the shortstop, Mike Shopperson. The outfield for the Mets, Mark Carrion plays left. Darrell Denby is the center fielder, and Randy Milligan in right. The Juice is batting at .241 on the season with 14 hits and 58 at-bats. He has 8 runs scored, 1 double, 1 triple, 2 homers, and 10 runs batted in. He's tied with Rico Sutton for the team lead in RBI. First pitch to Shopperson is low, ball 1. Escobar is being held on at first by Morrison. Escobar does not have a stolen base on the season. He's been caught twice. Mets infield and double play depth. The Blue Jays with excellent speed at first and at the plate. Pitch is fouled off behind home plate, off the screen, squaring the count at 1-1. Beautiful evening for baseball. We have had a wonderful stretch since the cold spell of a week ago. And great weather for the weekend. 2 games remaining in this series, tomorrow night and Sunday afternoon. Throwback to first, and Escobar is back safely. Tomorrow night, the Blue Jays will start right-hander Tim Rogers, their winningest pitcher. Rogers is 3-0 on the season. On Sunday afternoon, ex-Major Leaguer Chris Knapp pitches. Throwback to first, and again, Escobar is back safely. The starting time for tomorrow night's game, 7:30. Sunday afternoon's game begins at 2. Then the Blue Jays go on a 3-game road trip to Peninsula. Then back home for 4 more against Salem. Off-speed pitch to Shopperson is high, ball 2. 2-1 the count. The Redbirds will be in town next Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon. And that will be the Blue Jays extravaganza weekend. And you're the best part of it. There goes Escobar. Pitch is hit in the air down the right field line. Giving chase is the right fielder Randy Milligan, but it drops in the bullpen out of play. Next Thursday night, everyone entering Granger Stadium will receive a free pack of baseball trading cards. Everyone will get a pack of baseball cards while supplies last. Then on Friday night, 18 and under, again while supplies last, will receive a free Blue Jays wristband. On Saturday night, everyone coming into the ballpark gets a free Kinston Blue Jays bumper sticker, again while supplies last. And then, of course, Sunday afternoon will be Mother's Day, and the Blue Jays have a big treat for all the moms. Pitch is fouled back. Count holds at 2-2. Every mom coming to Granger Stadium, accompanied by her son or daughter, will be admitted free. And then the mom of the day will be selected, and there are a number of surprises for her. 2-2 pitch. Misses outside, ball 3. So don't forget, next weekend, the Blue Jays Extravaganza Weekend. And you're the best part of it. Only at Granger Stadium. Escobar leads away at first. The stretch by Gooden. There goes Escobar on 3-2. Shapperson sends it in the air to right center field. Calling off the right fielder is center fielder Darrell Denby, and he makes the grab for the second out. Here's left fielder Ralph Rivas. Rivas is batting at .208 on the season with 11 hits and 53 at-bats. He has 10 runs scored, 4 doubles, 1 homer, and 6 runs batted in. 3 of those RBIs came last night with a 2-run single and that inside the park home run in the 9th inning. Pitch on the way, on the outside corner for a called strike. An amusing story concerning Lenny Dykstra, the center fielder, who almost robbed Rivas of that home run. We'll tell you about it in the top of the 2nd inning. Now the stretch. Here comes the pitch. On the outside corner, strike 2 called, and Rivas doesn't believe it. Shakes his head and steps out of the box. So Gooden has the Blue Jays left fielder in a hole, 0-2. Escobar leads off first. The stretch by Gooden, and the pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Second strikeout for Gooden. In the first inning for the Blue Jays. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 runner left on base. After 1, it's the Blue Jays nothing, the Mets nothing. Well, we've just been paid a visit by the WSFL Big Bird in attendance tonight at Granger Stadium. And a good crowd on hand. It could be our largest crowd of the season. In the top of the 2nd inning, Dave Cochran will lead it off for the Mets. Cochran hit a 2-run homer in last night's game. It came in the 4th inning, and at the time gave the Mets a 6-1 lead. Cochran, a switch hitter, batting right against lefty Keith Gillum. Gillum spells his last name Gillim, but pronounces it Gillum, not Gilliam. Here's the pitch to Cochran. Fly ball, center field. Ken Kennard to his right has a beat on it and makes the catch for the first out. That will bring up the center fielder, Larry McNutt. McNutt is batting at .323 on the season with 10 hits and 31 at-bats. He has 9 runs scored, 1 double, 3 homers, and 6 runs batted in. After hitting the wall in dead center field last night, trying to rob Ralph Rivas of a home run, Lenny Dykstra was taken to Lenore Memorial Hospital. Pitch by Gillum outside, ball 1. He and his trainer, Rick Rayner, called for a cab to get back to the hotel where the Mets are staying in Kinston. 1-0 pitch on the outside corner for a called strike. Anyhow, they get in the taxi, and Dykstra heard that the cab driver had the same radio station on that was carrying our ball game, WFTC. However, the game was over. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Inside, ball 2. So Lenny asked who won the game. And the cab driver said, I don't know. I do know that the Blue Jays are playing the Mets, and that some guy in center field loused up a routine catch, and the Jays tied it up and then lost it. 2-1 pitch. Chopped to short. Shopperson plays it. Throws to first. Low. Scooped up by Poole in time to get McNutt. Mark Poole making his first start at first base. Looking mighty sharp, scooping that one up. 2 outs, and here's first baseman Bruce Morrison. Morrison batting at .231 on the season with 9 hits and 39 at-bats. He has 4 runs scored, 1 double, and 5 runs batted in. To complete the story, Dykstra, who by this time was just a little bit upset because the cab driver had just put him down. There's a ground ball to second. Escobar has it off-balance throw in time. That will tell you the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say, in the last of the second inning. Nothing across for the Mets in the top of the second, and after 1 1/2, it's the Mets nothing, the Blue Jays nothing.
What's more natural than natural life?
120 East Blunt Street in Kinston reminds you to show your support for the Kinston Blue Jays by attending all home games this season.
Last of the second inning, and third baseman Jim Bishop will lead it off for the Blue Jays. Anyhow, to complete the Lenny Dykstra story, Dykstra had asked how the Mets did, and the cab driver said he didn't know because the Blue Jays tied it up in the bottom of the 9th inning when the center fielder loused up an easy catch. So then Lenny's next question to the driver was, what do you do to people who don't pay you? And the driver said, oh, I'll catch up to them because I could recognize a face after I've seen it one time. Pitch to Bishop. High and outside, ball 1. Now Dykstra questioned the faculties of the cab driver's recognizing abilities because here he was talking to someone who had his Lynchburg Mets uniform jersey on and couldn't make the distinction of wondering why he was taking his ball player from the hospital back to the hotel. Bishop swings and misses at the pitch, strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bishop on the season, batting at .236 with 13 hits and 55 at-bats. He has 7 runs scored, 1 double, and 7 runs batted in. Round ball to short. Paula has it on the second hop, sidearm toss to first, and Bishop is out number 1. That will bring up the DH, Rico Sutton. Rico is batting at .269, 14 for 52. He has 8 runs scored, 3 homers, and 10 RBI. He leads the Blue Jays in home runs. Dwight Gooden on the mound for the Mets. There's the windup in the 10th. Curveball misses inside. Against the Mets this year, Rico is batting .333 with 6 hits and 18 at-bats. He has a home run and 4 runs batted in. Pitch is swung on and missed. Strike 1, Sutton, unable to hold up on his swing. Now Rico steps out of the box, knocks some dirt from his spikes, and walks back in. Wind up by Gooden. Here comes the pitch. Popped up foul off the right side, out of play. People around here are calling the almost catch by Lenny Dykstra one of the greatest efforts and attempts at trying to rob somebody of a home run they've ever seen. Curveball misses low. Gooden thought he had the plate. 2-2 now the count. 1 out, nobody on base. Last of the second inning, no score between the Mets and the Blue Jays. Now the pitch. On the outside corner, and Rico Sutton is out looking. Third strikeout by Gooden. And that'll bring up the first baseman, Mark Poole. Poole, who normally catches, making his first start of the season at first base tonight. Mark, the second leading Blue Jays batter with a .348 average. He has 23 at-bats and 8 hits. Poole with 3 runs scored, 2 doubles, 1 homer, and 4 runs batted in. The home run came against the Mets a week ago tonight. 1-0 pitch. Curveball drops in there for a strike. 1-1 on Poole. On deck is the catcher, Jay Schrader. Manager Sam Palazzo is very impressed with Lenny Dykstra. 1-1 pitch is low, 2-1 the count. We were talking about how he has killed the Blue Jays pitching, and Palazzo was saying that has been one of the Mets' problems in the early going. Only Dykstra has been hot. 2-1 pitch, hit in the air to deep center field. Then beyond the run, circles under it near the warning track and makes the grab. Nothing across for the Blue Jays through 2. The score, the Blue Jays nothing, the Mets nothing.
They're also Kinston source for Sherwin-Williams Automotive Paints.
A service of Alexander Communications, WFTC, Kinston.
Julio Paula, Greg Olson, and Darrell Denby, lower third of the Mets order, will come up against southpaw Keith Gillum in the top of the third. Paula, the ex-Kinston Eagle, he played for Kinston in 1980. Had a fine night last night, collecting a single, a sacrifice fly, and 2 runs batted in. On the season, Julio is batting at .179 with 7 hits in 39 at-bats. He has 1 run scored and 4 runs batted in. The Blue Jays infield and outfield plays him to hit straight away. Pitch is high, ball 1. I'm going to go out on a limb and call this the largest crowd of the season at Ranger Stadium. A good gathering on hand tonight on a beautiful evening for baseball. Fastball right down Broadway. 1 ball, 1 strike the count on Paula. Against Kinston pitching this year, Paula is batting at .333 with 3 hits and 9 at-bats. And he has those 2 runs batted in that he picked up last night. Fastball on the outside corner, strike 2 call. So the soft-spoken Keith Gillum, so far picking up where he left off against the Mets on Sunday afternoon, as is his pitching counterpart tonight, Dwight Gooden. Gillum from right next door in South Carolina. Born and still lives in Spartanburg. Here comes the pitch. Paula chopped it to short. Sharperson charges it, short hops it, throws, and gets his man. 1 away, and here's catcher Greg Olson. Olson batting at .189 on the season with 7 hits and 37 at-bats. He has 4 runs scored, 2 doubles, and 4 runs batted in. What do Kinston Blue Jays, Mater, and Lychak have in common tonight? Here's the pitch. Curveball misses outside, ball 1. Well, first of all, they both have the same name of Perry. Secondly, they both live in Canada. And thirdly, they both are celebrating a birthday today. Perry Mater of the Blue Jays and Perry Lychak are celebrating birthdays today. Lychak is a pitcher. Mater is a pitcher, but he's on the inactive list and has been inactive since the season began. 1-1 pitch. Curveball misses low. 2 balls, 1 strike on Greg Olson. 1 out, nobody on base. Top of the third. Blue Jays nothing, Mets nothing. Now the pitch. Swing and a miss at an off-speed pitch. 2-2. Olson chasing the pitch out of the strike zone. On the Carolina League scoreboard last night, of course, in 10 innings, Lynchburg defeated Kinston 8-6. Hagerstown nipped Durham 6-5. Olson fouls it off behind home plate. Count stays at 2-2. Real pitcher's duel in Salem last night. Salem just getting by Winston-Salem 13-11. And it was Peninsula 7, Alexandria 1, the Pilots snapping their 3-game losing streak. Tonight, in addition to our game, Winston-Salem is at Salem, Durham at Hagerstown, and Alexandria at Peninsula. Olson fouls the pitch off at the plate. Count stays at 2-2. Well, the Blue Jays still in third place in the Southern Division of the Carolina League with a record of 8-8. First time the Jays have been at the 500 level all year. They started out with a 5-0 record. Swing and a miss at a pitch in the dirt. Schrader tags out Olson after dropping the pitch for strike 3. Second strikeout recorded by Keith Gillum. 2 away, and here's center fielder Darrell Denby. Denby is batting at .243 with 9 hits and 37 at-bats. He has 6 runs scored, 2 doubles, 2 homers, and 4 runs batted in. Pitch on the way. Low for a ball. Durham leads Winston-Salem by percentage points in the Southern Division. The Bulls have an 8-6 record. Pitch is low for a ball. Winston-Salem is 9-7. Then come the Blue Jays at 8-8, a game off the pace. And Peninsula in last place at 6-8, 2 games behind. In the Northern Division, Alexandria and Hagerstown are in a flat-footed tie for first place with 8-7 marks. Curveball misses high, and Denby is up on the count, 3 balls and no strikes. These Lynchburg Mets, same record as the Blue Jays, 8-8, a half game out of first. Salem in last place at 6-10, 2.5 behind. Fastball on the outside corner for a strike. 3-1 on Denby. On deck is the leadoff hitter, Mark Carrion. Denby takes the pitch outside, ball 4, and the Mets have a base runner with 2 down. First walk given up by Gillum. Denby has 4 stolen bases on the season. He will be held on at first base. Fastball in there for a strike. Now down to, actually went up a bit because he got a single his first time up. He's 1 for 1. With that single to center field. Denby leads off first. Pitch out. Schrader throws to first, and Denby with a head-first dive back to the bag. 1 ball, 1 strike on Carrion. So Carrion is now 13 for 48 on the season. We didn't give you his stats when he batted the first time. He has 4 doubles, 18 walks, and 3 runs batted in. Throw back to first, and again, Denby is back safely. Gillum gets the sign from Schrader. He's to the belt. Throw back to first again, and Denby is back safely. Keith Gillum looking for his 3rd victory of the season. 1-1 pitch is high and away, ball 2. Randy Romania did the job for the Jays last night out of the bullpen. Romania called in relief. Was your prototype middleman. When you're behind in a game and you call in someone to pitch middle relief, you ask that pitcher to keep it close so you can get a chance to tie things up or take the lead, and the Blue Jays did just that. Trailing 6-1, manager Ron Clark called on Randy Romania, and he hurled 4 1/3 innings of scoreless baseball. 2-1 pitch is fouled off behind home plate, evening the count at 2-2. And the Blue Jays came back to tie it up at 6-6. And the Mets scored 2 runs in the top of the 10th. The winning run going in a wild pitch. And then an insurance run coming home on Julio Paula's sacrifice fly. Now the stretch by Gillum. 2-2 pitch. Outside, ball 3. Don't forget, Tim Rogers, the Blue Jays' winningest pitcher so far this season, starts tomorrow night's game at 7:30. And then Chris Knapp goes Sunday afternoon at 2. The stretch. Throw back to first, Denby back safely. On that home run by Rivas last night in the 9th inning, in which Dykstra leaped above the wall to knock the ball back into play, Chris Knapp was saying the guys in the bullpen related that the ball was out of the park. Pitch is inside and low, ball 4. That Dykstra, in fact, saved an out-of-the-park home run. So after Keith Gillum got the first 2 men in the 3rd, he's walked the next 2. And now the Mets have runners at 1st and 2nd with 2 outs, and second baseman Fermin Aubry, the batter. Aubry reached base on a force out in the 1st inning and was later picked off. Darrell Denby, the man at 2nd. Mark Carrion, the runner at 1st. The Mets, according to the latest Carolina League statistics, which have been compiled through last Friday's games, lead the Carolina League in defense. Pitch is popped up, right side of the diamond. Mark Poole, the first baseman, in fair territory, is called off by Escobar now, who makes the catch. The wind playing tricks with that ball. Poole was under it, just over the line in foul territory, ready to make the grab, and the wind blew the ball slightly back into fair territory, where Jose Escobar made the catch. In the 3rd inning for the Mets, no runs, no hits, no errors. They leave 2 men. In the middle of the 3rd, the score, the Blue Jays nothing, the Mets nothing.
What's more natural than natural life?
By yourself. Save yourself some work by calling 523-7351. Drake Janitorial Service Incorporated, 120 East Blunt Street in Kinston, reminds you to show your support for the Kinston Blue Jays by attending all home games this season.
A reminder, friend, tonight's game is being brought to you under broadcast rights granted by the Kinston Blue Jays to Alexander Communications Incorporated. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, publication, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Alexander Communications Incorporated is prohibited. Last of the 3rd, and Jay Schrader sends one in the air to right field. Right there, though, is Randy Milligan, and he makes the grab for the first out. That'll bring up center fielder Ken Kennard. Kennard, who has been batting leadoff for the Jays, tonight is batting in the number 9 position. Ken's been in a slump, hitting at 169. Pitch on the way is fouled off to the left of home plate behind the 3rd base dugout. Kennard has 10 hits and 59 at-bats with 8 runs scored, 2 doubles, and 3 runs batted in. He leads the team in stolen bases with 10. And last night demonstrated some signs of snapping out of it, collecting 2 hits. His first 2-hit game in quite some time. The 0-1 pitch on the outside corner, strike 2 call. Kennard, a switch hitter, batting left. Remember, this is his first season of switch hitting. He tried it in the Instructional League last year. He is a natural right-handed hitter. Pitch is inside. Kennard has to move away from a Gooden fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. On deck is the leadoff batter, Alex Marte. Now the pitch. Grounded to short. Up with the ball is Paula. Throws on to first for the second out. That'll bring up the right fielder, Alex Marte. Marte struck out his first time up. Against the Mets this year, Marte has a batting average of .235. Entering tonight's game, he had 4 hits in 17 at-bats with 4 runs scored and a run batted in. Pitch is inside, ball 1. Alex, a very dependable player. He'll play day in and day out for you. Now the pitch. Swung on and fouled off at the plate. 1-1 the count. Blue Jays nothing, Mets nothing. Last of the 3rd inning. 2 outs, nobody on base for the Jays. Gooden shakes off Olsen. Okay's the second sign. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Marte from the Dominican Republic. A number of players from both sides are from the Dominican Republic. Now the 1-2 pitch. Grounded behind third, foul ball. Dave Cochran, the third baseman, backhanding it. Plate umpire Paul Gordon motioning foul. Breeze continues to blow out toward left field. Very similar to last night. The wind was shifting directions from center to left field and back again all night long. Boy, that was some attempt by Lenny Dykstra. People all around Kinston talking about the attempted catch last night on Rivas. Marte hits the ball foul off his fist to the left side, out of play. So the count on Alex remains a ball and 2 strikes. A moment ago we were talking about Bernie Cottis, the Blue Jays' regular second baseman, and how he's going to be gone for 2 weeks. 1-2 pitch. Inside, ball 2. There's no one who loves to play this game more than Bernie Cottis. And he was feeling a bit dejected today because the doctor told him to sit down for 2 weeks. He'll be chomping at the bit before too long. You can bet on that. 2-2 curveball, low and inside, 3-2 the count. Cottis, one of those likable fellows who can also play the game of baseball. He's the kind of player a manager will say he'd like 9 of them. Payoff pitch. Outside, ball 4. So the Blue Jays have a base runner. First walk given up by Gooden, and here's Escobar. Jose has the Jays' lone hit. A single his first time up. Against the Mets this year, Escobar has 5 hits in 18 at-bats. Marte leads off first, being held on by Bruce Morrison. Now the stretch by Gooden. There goes Marte, a big jump, pitches low, throw on to second, head first slide, and he is in there with a stolen base. Alex Marte with his 6th stolen base of the season. And with 2 outs, the Blue Jays have a runner in scoring position. One ball, no strikes on Escobar. On deck is the shortstop, Mike Sharperson. Marte with a big lead off second. The stretch by Gooden in the pitch. Fouled off behind home plate, evening the count at 1-1. We started to tell you at the end of the top of the 3rd how the Mets, through the latest Carolina League statistics, lead the circuit in defense. That will change, though. Last night, the Mets committed 5 errors. 1-1 changeup is low. 2 balls, 1 strike to count on Escobar. Blue Jays pitching instructor Bob Humphreys was throwing batting practice before yesterday's game. And sometimes the batting practice pitchers will throw in situations. Here's the stretch. 2-1 pitch. High, ball 3. In other words, the batting practice pitcher will say, okay, 2 outs, Jose, runner at first. Or, okay, Jose, 1 out, runner at first, which is what he said that particular instant. 1 out, runner at first. Pitch on the way is high, ball 4. Escobar's aboard. Anyhow, he then had Jose try to hit and run. He goes, okay, Jose, hit and run. And Escobar hit it in the hole to right field. You should have heard the razzing they were giving Humphreys after that one. Here's Shepperson. He flies to center his first time up. Marte off second, Escobar off first. Pitch on the way, high and away, ball one. Remember, Shepperson is tied with Rico Sutton for the team lead and runs batted in. I understand that special involving Ron Clark was on the tube again last night. We saw it in Lynchburg during the Atlanta Braves New York Mets telecast. There was a rain delay, and so to fill the time, they ran a film clip on the Reading Phillies of 1980. Ron Clark was the manager of that team. 1-0 pitch. Popped up on the infield. Calling for it is the first baseman, Bruce Morrison, and he makes the catch. In the third inning for the Blue Jays, no runs, no hits, no errors, and 2 runners left on base. After 3, the score remains Kinston nothing, Lynchburg nothing.
Best, including Gates top quality belts and hoses, and Sherwin-Williams automotive paint. So protect your investment in your car. See United Auto Parts today at 2023 Pink Hill Road, Kinston.
We go to the top of the 4th inning. Mets nothing, Blue Jays nothing. And Randy Milligan will lead it off for the Mets. Keith Gillum pitching against Dwight Gooden. Three-inning totals in this game. For the Mets, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base. For the Blue Jays, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 3 men left on base. Milligan struck out swinging his first time up. The windup by Gillum in the pitch. Curveball low, 1-0. The Jays stay the same on defense. Jim Bishop is at third. Mike Shepperson, the shortstop. Jose Escobar at second, and Mark Poole at first. Outside, ball 2. Ralph Rivas is in left field. Ken Kennard, the center fielder, and Alex Marte in right. Low, ball 3. Jay Schrader behind the dish and Keith Gillum on the mound. On deck is the third baseman, Dave Cochran. It comes in there for a strike. Remember the other night we were talking about quotes in baseball, famous quotes? Here's the 3-1 pitch. On the outside corner, strike 2 call. Well, the book I was telling you about is entitled Voices of Baseball, Quotations on the Summer Game. Pitch is line, caught by the second baseman, Escobar. Oh, what a play by Jose. That one was destined for center field, and Escobar moved and then leaped in the air to his right and snatched it out of midair. 4-star job on that one. 1 away. It is third baseman Dave Cochran who flies to center his first time up. Here's the pitch. Ground ball to third. Bishop has it. Throws. Got him. Nice play by Bishop. Gliding to his left. Flagging it down. Making the turn and gunning down Cochran. Quickly 2 away. And here's designated hitter Larry McNutt. McNutt grounded to short his first time up. 2 outs. Nobody on base. Top of the 4th inning. Scoreless game. The windup by Gillum in the pitch. Curveball drops in there for a strike. Anyhow, the name of the book, Voices of Baseball, Quotations on the Summer Game, just came out. It was printed in February, and it's by Bob Cheeger of Los Angeles. Ball is chopped to short. Shepperson has, throws high, but in time to retire McNutt. And we're going to read you some quotes throughout the game. In the top of the fourth inning for the Mets, nothing across. After 3 1/2, it's the Mets nothing, the Blue Jays nothing.
Auto Parts today, 2023 Pinkiel Road, Kinston. And don't forget, they're also Kinston source for Sherwin-Williams automotive paints.
Last of the fourth inning, Ralph Rivas, Jim Bishop, and Rico Sutton, the numbers 4, 5, and 6 men, will bat for the Blue Jays. Rivas struck out swinging his first time up. Well, Ralph enjoyed a fine night last night with that home run, single, and 3 runs batted in. Dwight Gooden on the mound. Here comes the pitch. Fastball is low. 1-0 the count. Mets stay the same on defense. Dave Cochran is at third. Julio Paula at short. Fermin Ubri at second. And Bruce Morrison at first. Davis fouls the pitch off behind home plate. 1-1. Greg Olson is behind the dish. Dwight Gooden pitching. The outfield from left to right. Mark Carrion, Darrell Denby, and Randy Milligan. Now the 1-1 pitch. Curveball inside, 2-1. Well, the Mets have taken the Jays to task so far this season, winning 4 of the first 5 encounters. In fact, half of the Mets' victories this year have come against the Blue Jays. Now the pitch. Rowe, ball 3. Anyway, talking about some of these quotes. This one is attributed to John McGraw, former manager of the New York Giants. Pitch to Rivas. Rounded to second. Up to the ball is Ubri. Throws on to first, run away. Says McGraw, sportsmanship and easygoing methods are all right, but it is the prospect of a hot fight that brings out the crowd. Okay, John. Run away, third baseman Jim Bishop up. Bish grounded to short his first time up. Curveball, didn't break and gets by everybody back to the screen. Ted Turner, owner of the Atlanta Braves, on the subject of agents. When they smile, blood drips off their teeth. Of course, the Yogi quote's a dime a dozen. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Slump? I ain't in no slump. I just ain't hitting. Yogi Berra. Leo DeRocher on the subject of winning. Show me a good loser, and I'll show you an idiot. Fastball on the outside corner to Bishop. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Famous last words from George Steinbrenner. I won't be active in the day-to-day operations of the club at all. Inside, ball 2. Dan Quisenberry, relief pitcher with the Kansas City Royals, on the philosophy of life. I've seen the future, and it's much like the present, only longer. Very good, Dan. Pitch is low, ball 3. 3-2, the count on Bishop. Now the payoff pitch by Gooden. Low, ball 4, and the Blue Jays have a base runner. Third walk given up by the Mets right-hander, and that'll bring up the designated hitter, Rico Sutton. Rico looked at a third strike his first time up. Bishop has 1 stolen base on the season. He's been caught twice. He's being held on at first by Bruce Morrison. Here's a great quote and perfect Stengelese. There goes Bishop. Pitch is hit in the air to right field. Under it is Milligan. He makes the catch. Milligan double pumped as if to throw to first and then changed his mind, throwing to second. 2 away, and first baseman Mark Poole, the batter. Poole fly to center his first time up. This is Casey Stengel, then manager of the New York Yankees. when Mr. Billy Martin and Mr. Mickey Mantle came to me, they were such kids in their hotel rooms, they were having pretend gunfights with toy guns, which they would draw on each other and then argue who was the fastest on the draw. Now that's Stingolese at its best. Here's the pitch. High and away, ball one. Yogi Berra, then manager of the New York Yankees, when asked if he had new plans for the World Series of 1964. Said Yogi, "It ain't like football. You can't make up no trick plays." Pitch to Poole is low for a ball, 2-0 the count. Author Leonard Coppett, in his book, A Thinking Man's Guide to Baseball. What do managers really do? Worry. Constantly. For a living. Poole asks for time, steps out of the batter's box. Here's a super quote. Pitch is on the outside corner for a called strike. 2-1. This is quoting Billy Martin, then manager of the Oakland A's in 1981. "I don't throw the first punch. I throw the second four." Pitch to Poole, outside. 3 balls, 1 strike to count. I clocked them. There are 2 guys in this town looking for their teeth. George Steinbrenner, after his fight in the Los Angeles elevator during the World Series of 1981. We all remember that. Pitch on the way, hit in the air to deep center field. Denby on the run, chases it down in front of the warning track for the 3rd out. In the 4th inning for the Blue Jays, no runs, no hits, no errors. 1 man left on base. Through 4, score remains Kinston nothing, Lynchburg nothing. What's more natural than natural light? Whoa, some things go together.
120 East Blunt Street in Kinston reminds you to show your support for the Kinston Blue Jays by attending all home games this season.
Top of the 5th inning, Bruce Morrison will lead it off for the Mets. Morrison grounded to second his first time up. Got ourselves a real pitcher's duel brewing at Granger Stadium tonight in front of one of the better crowds of the season so far in young 1983. Blue Jays and Mets both sporting 8-8 records. So here's Morrison, right-handed batter from Staten Island. He grew up in the shadow of Shea Stadium. Pitched by lefty Keith Gillum. High and away, ball one. Sam Palazzo, the Mets manager, was talking earlier about the loss of Lenny Dykstra for a couple of games, and Lenny being the Mets' hottest hitter. Swing and a miss at a fastball. 1-1 to count. Sam was saying Lenny was the team's only hitter that was on fire, and normally, he goes, you'd like to see 3 get hot at one time. Curveball is popped into right field. Alex Marte under it and makes the catch 20 feet from the right field foul line. 1 down, shortstop Julio Paula, the batter. Julio grounded to short his first trip up. Of course, Palazzo was being idealistic, and he knew it. He was saying, you like to have 3 guys get hot at one time, and then when they cool off, another 3 get hot. Paula bunts at it and misses it for strike 1. Well, that's logical. Of course, if that took place all the time, you'd have a team with an .800 winning percentage. Normally, when a team is in a slump, the whole team slumps. 0-1 pitch. Inside for a ball. That's why pitching is such an important part of this game. You look for that stopper, the guy who can stop slumps, the guy who can go out there and you know when you hand him the baseball he's going to pitch you a victory. Case in point, the 1978 Yankees and Ron Guidry. High and away, ball 2. Both manager Billy Martin and later Bob Lemon knew that when they handed Guidry the ball, he was almost a sure winner. Guidry stopped many a Yankee slump before it became serious. 2-1 pitch, grounded, past Palazzo down the third baseline, foul. 2-2 the count for the switch-hitting Julio Paula, batting right-handed. On deck is the catcher, Greg Olson. They play Paula to hit to the opposite field. He has a lot of real estate to shoot for in left center. Ground ball in the hole, cut off by Bishop, throws high and over first baseman Mark Poole. A base hit for Julio Paula. Bishop ranging far to his left, bended a 360, but even a good throw would not have gotten the speedy Paula. Infield single for the Mets shortstop, and that'll bring up the catcher, Greg Olson. A look at the jugs gun on both pitchers tonight, and Keith Gillen is throwing roughly in the low 80s. 84, 81, 82 miles per hour. That hit by Paula was the Mets' second, and Olson fouls the pitch off behind home plate. No balls, 1 strike to count on the Mets catcher. Olson struck out swinging his first time up. Paula being held on at first by Mark Poole. Julio has 2 stolen bases on the season. The Blue Jays infield and double play depth, the outfield spread out on Olson. Against Blue Jays pitching this year, Olson has 1 hit in 7 at-bats. Paula doesn't go. Olson bluffs the bunt, takes the pitch outside, ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. So far, nothing but goose eggs on the scoreboard. Mets and Blue Jays scoreless in the top of the 5th. Throwback to first, and Paula is back safely. Well, the Jays trying to score some runs. Through 16 games this year, Kinston has scored 69 runs. A chopper to third. Bishop waits for it to come down. His only play is to first, in time to nab Olson. Advancing to second is Paula. 2 away, and here's the center fielder, Darrell Denby. That was your typical Baltimore chop in Kinston. Denby walked his first time up. Right-handed batter. Darrell is from San Diego, California. The Mets scout heavily in California, the South, and in Central America. Evidence the fact that they have 4 players on their roster from Alabama, several from the Dominican Republic, and several from California. Grounded at third, Bishop throws across the diamond, and the Mets' 5th is history. For Lynchburg, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 man left on base, up to 4 1/2. It's the Mets nothing, the Blue Jays nothing.
What's more natural than that?
120 East Blunt Street in Kinston reminds you to show your support for the Kinston Blue Jays by attending all home games this season.
Hey friends, the second half of tonight's Blue Jays Mets game is being brought to you by Budweiser, distributed locally by Jeffrey's Beer and Wine Company of Goldsboro. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Catcher Jay Schlater leads it off for the Blue Jays. Jay flies to right on the first pitch in the bottom of the 3rd. We didn't get an opportunity to give you Jay's statistics. Fans pick up the rhythmic applause now, being led by the WSFL Big Bird in attendance tonight. Starting tonight's action, Schlater had a batting average of 167 with 5 hits and 30 at-bats. Curveball inside, ball 1. Schlater with 2 runs scored on the season, looking for his first extra base hit. He has 2 runs batted in. Now the pitch. Fastball misses outside. It's 2-0. Our official scorer, Bob Snowden, has the binoculars on the jugs gun, and as soon as we get a reading on Dwight Gooden, we'll pass it along. Fastball is low. 3-0 the count on Schlater. Gooden, the New York Mets #1 draft pick last June. Dwight is 18 years of age from Tampa, Florida, and he can bring it. 3-0 on the outside corner for a called strike. That last pitch was clocked at 83 miles per hour. Pitch is fouled off behind home plate. 3-2 the count. He's been clocked at better than 90. Dwight is a rangy fellow. Stands at 6'2", weighs 190 pounds. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Gooden, behind on the count, 3-0, comes back to strike out Slater. 4th strikeout for Gooden. Here's center fielder Ken Kennard. Kennard grounded to short his first time up. 1 out, nobody on base, last of the 5th, scoreless game. Here's the pitch. A chopper. Hit deep in the hole. Fielded by Paula behind third baseman Cochran, but he can't make a play. Cochran was playing in case Kennard dropped one. Kennard chopped it over Cochran's head. Paula, backing up Cochran, fielded the ball, but he couldn't make a throw. Kennard with that tremendous speed, and Paula wisely held up. Infield single for Ken Kennard. Second hit in the game for the Blue Jays. And here's right fielder Alex Marte. Kennard leads the Blue Jays in stolen bases with 10. He's being held on by Bruce Morrison. Marte tonight has struck out and walked. Kennard believed to be the fastest runner in the Blue Jays organization, and that includes the parent Toronto club. Throw back to first, and Kennard dives back safely. Not a close play. Ken Kennard has been caught stealing 3 times this year. He doesn't go. Pitch to Marte is inside. 1-0 the count. Marte is an excellent bunter, but it's doubtful he would be dropping one here to sacrifice Kennard along. With 1 out, manager Ron Clark is the type of manager who does not like to waste out, and he'll have Kennard stealing before Marte tries to drop a bunt here, even though it appears runs tonight are at a premium. Now Kennard leads away. There he goes. Marte bluffs the bunt. Head first slide, and Kennard is in there with his 11th stolen base of the season. 1 ball, 1 strike to count on Alex Marte. Now don't put it past Kennard to steal third. He's done that this year. Rhythmic applause from the crowd. Marte, a left-handed batter, digs in. Here's the pitch. Inside, ball 2. Marte hits the ball to the opposite field anyway. It's very seldom that he pulls the ball. So you combine that with the fastball of Gooden, and it's understandable why the outfield is playing him into the opposite way. Rounded is short. Salva tries to tag Kennard out going to third and misses him. All hands are safe. Score to field is short. Paula thought he had him. Kennard was running on the chopper. Paula tried to tag out Kenny going to third, and he missed him. Marte reaches first on the fielder's choice. For the first time tonight, the Blue Jays have a runner as far as third. Runners at the corners. 1 out, and second baseman Jose Escobar, the batter. Escobar has singled and walked, working on a perfect night. Mets nothing, Blue Jays nothing. Bottom of the 5th, 1 out, but the Jays are threatening with runners at the corners. Dwight Gooden facing his biggest jam of the night. And now base umpire Dave Mattson calls time. Marte steps off first and has a word with his coach, J.J. Cannon. Escobar, a right-handed batter, steps in. Wind continues to blow out toward left. The stretch and the pitch. The squeeze is on. It's hit to the right of the mound. It's a beauty. Escobar is tagged out, but the run scores. 1-0 Blue Jays. Jose Escobar, an outstanding bunter, and Ron Clark capitalized on the situation, signaling for the suicide squeeze. Escobar bunting it to the right of the mound, Kennard running on the delivery, and he scored easily as Jose was tagged out by Gooden. Advancing to second on the sacrifice is Alex Marte. And here's Shopperson, pitches in there for a strike. 2 away, but the Blue Jays lead it 1-0. Escobar picking up his 4th run batted in on the season. And now Gooden checks Marte back to second base. That was pretty. Shopperson tonight has fly to center and popped to first. Curveball misses. 1-1 the count to the Blue Jays shortstop. A textbook suicide squeeze executed by Jose Escobar and Ken Kennard. You won't see it done any better in a clinic. Pitch is low, momentarily gets away from Olsen, who chases it down as the runner at second, Marte, retreats to second base. 2 balls, 1 strike now, the count on Shopperson. On deck is the left fielder, Ralph Reavis. Blue Jays trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. There goes Marte to third. Pitch is fouled off right side out of play. And I believe Marte would have had third base stolen. He got such an outstanding jump on Gooden. 2-2 now on Shop. The Juice with 10 runs batted in on the season. Against Mets pitching this year, he has 3 hits in 20 at-bats. Now the stretch. It comes inside, ball 3. Shopperson with 2 home runs on the season. Second on the club in that department, behind Rico Sutton with 3. He's tied with Sutton for runs batted in with 10. Now the stretch. Payoff pitch. Fly ball, center field. Darrell Denby has a beat on it, and he makes the catch for the 3rd out. But the Blue Jays score a run on a base hit. No errors, 1 runner left on base. Through 5, it's now the Blue Jays 1, the Mets nothing.
What's more natural?
Remind you to show your support for the Kinston Blue Jays by attending all home games this season.
Top of the 6th and the top of the order for the Mets. Mark Carrion, Fermin Ubri, and Randy Milligan. Mets and Blue Jays continue the series tomorrow night at 7:30. And then the set and homestand will wind up Sunday afternoon at 2. The Jays then travel to Peninsula. First time this year they will be facing the Phillies single-A team. And they'll be playing the Pirates Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights at 7:30. Carrion tonight singled to start the game and walked his 2nd trip. The windup by Gillum in the pitch. Outside, ball 1. After the 3-game road trip, the Blue Jays come back to Granger Stadium for a 4-game set against the Salem Redbirds Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, and Sunday afternoon. Ground ball to short, fielded by Escobar. He throws on to first, 1 down. Here's the second baseman, Fermin Ubri. Ubri reached on a 4-shot in the first and popped to second, his 2nd trip. don't forget, next weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, will be the Blue Jays Extravaganza Weekend. And you're the best part of it. Here's the pitch by Gillum. In there for a strike. 0-1 on O'Brien. Now, everyone coming to Granger Stadium next Thursday night will get a free pack of baseball trading cards as long as the supply lasts. 0-1 pitch, fouled off behind the plate. 0-2 the count. On Friday night, those coming to Granger Stadium, 18 years of age and younger, will get a free Blue Jays wristband as long as supplies last. Saturday night, those coming to the park of all ages, as long as supplies last, will receive a free Kinston Blue Jays bumper sticker. And then to wrap up the entire weekend, Sunday afternoon, every mom will be honored. It will be Mother's Day, of course, next Sunday. Pitch to O'Brien outside, ball 1. And all moms coming to Granger Stadium, accompanied by a son or daughter, will be allowed in free. Chopper over the mound, fielded by Chopperson behind second. The throw, they got him. Oh, what a play by Chopperson. Sometimes Chop looks as if he's wearing ice skates out there. The Deuce that time gliding far behind second, fielding the ball, and in one motion, gunning out O'Brien. 2 away, it is right fielder Randy Milligan. Milligan 0 for 2, struck out Sinking in the first, line to second in the second. Pitch is low for a ball. 1-0 the count. Blue Jays 1, Mets nothing, top of the 6th. 2 outs, nobody on base for the Mets. Pitch is fouled off at the plate, clearing the count at 1-1. A pitcher's duel at Granger Stadium tonight. Before the largest crowd of the season, I'm going to say. Look at the attendance figures in a couple of innings, but we've got a nice crowd on hand tonight. The outfield is spread out on Milligan. He has a big hole to shoot for up the middle of the diamond. Now the 1-1 delivery. Changeup is outside, 2-1. Keith Gillum has had only one shaky outing so far this year, and that came against the Durham Bulls. Other than that, he's been mighty sharp for manager Ron Clark's Jays. Pitch is outside, ball 3. Gillum was the winner on opening night, defeating the Winston-Salem Red Sox. Then he had that outing against the Bulls, but came back strong last Sunday, blanking these Mets on a 4-hitter and winning the game 2-0. 3-1. Low, ball 4. So with 2 outs, the Mets have a base runner as Keith Gillum issues his 3rd free pass of the night. That will bring up third baseman Dave Cochran. The Mets switch hitter flies to center his first time up. Grounded to third his second trip. Mets manager Sam Perlazzo has a lot of faith in Mr. Cochran. He believes that Dave can make the outstanding play.